Nice. Coming at you with there it is, the lens merch over here. Building on lens. Can't build on lens without the lens merch, obviously. So let's get right into it. Where we left off last time, maybe you want to check it out, although you can pretty much come in straight from here, as we're building a stake follow module, right? And now is the perfect time to be checking this out. Lens just released on mainnet today, so now is the time. Let's go. And yeah, what the stake follow module is it's basically this logic that's executed when you follow a profile, right? So if you want to follow me, then this code, the stake follow module code, gets executed when you follow me. And this code might say something like you have to stake $10 for 3 months in order to follow me, and at the end of those 3 months you can take your $10 back, right? Anything like that. So that's really cool. That's exactly what's going on here. Now, let's actually talk about where we got to in the stake follow module. So I've done a couple things like make the code a little bit bigger so hopefully you can see a bit better, and we've got some feedback on the last video of a few things we need to change. But very simply, again, there's a whole bunch of different modules that exist. You might have seen a bunch of them already, but ones such as the revert follow module, which is actually new since last time. So it calls this process follow function if you've initialized the revert follow module on your profile. And what it does is it means anytime anyone tries to follow you, it reverts, right? So if you want 0 followers, that's the one to use. And just so I can show you what lens looks like, lens dev, lenster, let's see where it's up. There we go. I'm going to bring it up for you right now. And you can see people have claimed their handles. Let me go to an example of someone who's claimed their handle. Sweet. I'm going to use my good buddy who's a Bulldor, Den over here. He's got 1 follower. He's following 3 people. You claim your profile. It's live. When you click this big follow button, right? Dev, DJ, and DeFi. I guess that's a play on surfing, but with a D. That's the coolest profile I've seen so far. It's got your Twitter, website. Really cool, right? So in Lens, you can start claiming your profile if you've been OG and been on things. But what we're talking about now is the follow button. When people follow you, you can do a few different things. You can choose what happens, which is epic, right? You can choose if it reverts, you don't want anyone to follow you, bam, then you initialize this module. You could use the fee follow module, and what you put is a currency, an amount, and a recipient. And what this means is if someone wants to follow you, bam, maybe they have to send you 5 USDC. Cool. Or maybe they send that 5 USDC to Vitalik Buterin's address. Like, you can do it wherever you want, which is really cool. Now, what we've built is we've extended this and made a stake follow module because we don't want our followers to necessarily have to pay, but we don't just want everyone to follow us. So you could even get someone to stake for 1 day. So they have to stake $10 for 1 day to be able to follow you. And that just basically cuts the bots probably who want to just follow lots of people. That's kind of maybe what you want to do. There's a lot of different things you can do. So as you can see in our data here, we have the currency, the amount, and the length that you have to stake in order to follow this person. And you'll see a lot of this magic happens in this process follow function as we talked about. And what it does is it validates some data, which we'll get to. But basically, when you follow the person, it takes the currency, say USDC, and transfers it from the follower to whichever address was been stipulated. In this case, we are holding it simply in the smart contract, right? And it's the amount, right? So let's just say I try to follow my friend Denim over here. Boom. What's going to happen? It's going to transfer from me, the follower who's following Denim, 5 USDC, and it's going to sit in the stake contract for a while until I eventually am able to call this redeem stake after the amount of time has passed. And something else that's important we do is when we call this process follow, it sets when you're eligible to actually withdraw your stake. Cool. Now, some things to note. What is this validation over here? So we got some feedback. Basically, this validation is really important because what it does, this validate data is expected over here. You can see it checks that the arbitrary call data passed through matches the data that's been called in the function. You can see over here it decodes what this data is and it matches it's called over here, and otherwise there's a module data mismatch. And if we just go back over here, why that is important is you see we are reading the amount and the currency from the data by profile. So this is stuff we save when we initialize the follow module, right? And people can initialize this follow module multiple different times, right? And this is what we think the amount and the currency price is over here. But then there's also this call data that's being passed in by the hub, right? And if there was any point where the hub passed a different amount or currency that does not agree with the amount and currency we've stored in here, there could be an incorrect amount sent. And this happens generally because, look, we can initialize the follow module and we could perhaps slip in a transaction that changes things over here. There's lots of weird things that can happen. So let's just take that for granted. And you can see over here we're validating that the currency and that the amount is correct. But what we haven't done is we haven't validated that the length of staking is correct. And here we could get a case where perhaps the user changed the length of staking to some other random value, and sorry, not the user, the profile owner, and this means that the stake gets locked here for really long, right? So that's something we want to actually check and validate over here. So I'm going to go into where this function is, and you can see this function, it's an abstract contract called fee module base, and you'll see over here our stake follow module is fee module base, right? So it's inheriting all of these functions like validate, where we go, sorry, fee follow module, fee module base. Let's get to this one, fee module base. We can get to it over here. Okay, so here's the fee module base. We probably would maybe want to have a stake module base, a slightly different contract, but for ease of this over here, I'm just going to create something that says validate stake data is expected, and we'll have our call data, we'll have our currency, we'll have our amount, and what we're also going to have is our stake length time. So I'm going to go back to our stake follow module. As well as our currency and amount, our length of staking is something we're going to want to validate. And when we decode our data, we're not just going to get an address in 1UN256. We're going to get another one over there. And if you're wondering what this clicking is, I'll tell you what it is now. UN256 decoded length. That's spicy. Let's do it like this. Length of staking. Nice. And I'm going to give this a save here. That's interesting. So you can see over here, maybe you can't see so nicely, my laptop's a bit on it, but I've got these bad boys that are making the clicky sound. They are my keyboard, which is split in half. It's a moonlander. It's the good stuff. Anyways, this lens merge it's boiling. I'm coding with the lens merge. Big commitment over here. It's boiling here. Okay. We're also going to check that the decoded length of, if the decoded length of staking, right? Whoa, did I just do something I didn't want to do? Yes, I did. Okay, let's get a... Nice. Alright, the moon lander is defunctioning. Hold on. Just after that moon lander flex wasn't working, and restarting the keyboard, and let's go keyboard. 3, 2, 1. There we go. Fully operational. Back on track. Even got some funky colors on the one side now, which is pretty cool. Right. This one's now bugged out. Okay, give me a second over here. Alright. We are back online. So just my keyboard tweaked out after picking it up to show you. But basically what we're going to just check over here is that the decoded length of staking is of course equal to this length of staking passed in, or not equal, in which case we should revert. And what I'm going to do is save. I got a nice little formatting while I saved there, I think you guys saw. And what are we always going to do sooner rather than later? We're going to run forge build, right? That is this spicy fast way for us to compile our code. Nice. And what we're going to do is we are going to validate the stake data is as expected. So in our stake follow module over here, what we're going to do is we are going to head to our follow, process follow, and we're going to validate data as expected, and the stake data is expected, and we're going to add across our stake length bad boy. Okay, let's get it in over here. Our length of staking. This is of course not an address, it's a uint 256. Our length of staking, and we should be able to grab it over here. Nice. Validate stake data as expected, and we want to put our length of staking in over here. Great. Again, what I'm going to do is run forge build. Nice. And we have validated that our stake data is as expected. And again, why we want to do that is we just want to essentially look at this initialize follow module, and as far as I read on a tweet regarding the first video, a comment, I think it was Alan who said it, so thanks a lot on that. This follow module can be reinitialized, right? It means these values can be set again and changed again, and that means we have these values that are changing, and this process following is reading those values over there. And we're also having data that's being passed in from the hub when things are executed. So there's two possible places that the data could be coming from, right? And we want to ensure that the data that's being passed through from the hub is accurate and it matches the same data we have over here. Otherwise, someone couldn't pass some data in from the hub that when it was decoded actually asked for a different amount, a different currency, a different length of staking. You know, that wouldn't be good at all. Sweet. So there we have our process follow sorted. We have our redeem stake, which is great. And just over here, something to look at, our redeem stake that we're calling right over here. What we'll actually want to do is we'll actually want to store for each user how much they've staked. And the reason we want to do this is I wasn't aware that you could really reinitialize the follow module, even though I should have been. But think about this attack vector, right? What happens is someone initializes the follow module, says, hey everyone, it's the stake follow module. Hey everyone, it's $10 to follow me. Thousands of people follow this person and stake $10. Then what they do is they change the stake follow module to say require $1,000 of stake, right? Then what happens is the first person who comes in calls redeem stake. What it's going to do is it's going to send this data by profile ID amount, and everyone was staking $5, but now what it's sending back to the person is this new amount that's been set that people should stake, which is $1,000, which is definitely not what we want. So we totally need to change this. This is not good. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to create another mapping over here. And again, the mapping is going to have the same things. From a profile ID to an address, we're going to have a stake amount, right? How much did someone stake? And all we're going to do is when we call process follow over here, right, we are going to also set this for the user. We'll set it over here. So for the stake amount, right, we have a profile ID and we have the follower, and we are going to set this, and we are going to set the stake amount to this amount that we've literally decoded right here. And now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to read this amount, and when someone redeems, we're instead going to send them exactly how much they shouldn't uncomment this. We're going to send them exactly how much they staked, as opposed to possibly what the new stake amount was that's been reinitialized. Cool. So if I save that and I run forge build, what's awesome here is we're getting a nice little error: undeclared identifier, stake amount, follower. Great. Yeah, this is undeclared over here. And what we're going to do is, instead of using follower, we are just going to use message.sender. That is the person who sent this transaction. Nice. That's why we compile our code all the time. Implicit bad conversion from bool to uint. Yeah, we did something nasty there. This mapping, of course, should map to a uint 256. And there we go. Everything's compiling, everything's working nicely, and we have started to validate our data successfully over here. Nice. We've also started to store the amount that a user should stake. Nice. So that if this was reinitialized, the user would only be able to redeem their correct amount that they staked. Nice. We also still have the logic that they've already withdrawn. They can only do it once. Nice. Really, that's where we're at. I mean, that's really nice. I can think of one nice thing is this has withdrawn stake. We can probably get rid of this mapping, and instead the user will just send themselves 0 tokens. We'll put the stake amount back down to 0 once it's been sent to them. So that's one thing. But there we go. And I think that the next thing we're going to build, so again, this is really just capping off part 3 of 1 or 2 mistakes and things we needed to fix with the stake follow module. But what's going to be really spicy, what I think we should be building in the next one, is a subscription follow module, right? So payments are one-off, staking is one-off. How spicy is this? If you want someone to follow you, they have to consistently pay, right, to follow you, and that subscription fee can change. Let's think of this as Netflix for followers, right? I think that's going to be a power module. So yeah, let's build that. I think it's going to be a good one. Sweet.